What is up? Welcome to the Loose Ends Fantasy Football Podcast, a fantasy football podcast for average fantasy football players, hosted by who, boys?
Average fantasy players ourselves, baby.
We try. We try real hard.
We're wrong a lot, but we're right sometimes. Today, I am your host and reigning, undisputed, defending, drunken draft dynasty league champion, and I am joined by two of my best friends in the world and the fantasy universe. First up in the black and gold corner, we have JJ, the steel curtain behemoth himself, and an analytic guru. What is up, my guy?
What's up, guys? So happy to be here.
Over in the black and silver corner, the rebuild god, the wishful thinker himself, the king of trading away rookies, Mr. Montavious Glenjamin. Welcome. What's up, buddy? Not the hola. Today, we are doing a very interesting and fun episode because it is just like we always do. We're going to talk about our waiver wire additions and droppable players. We are going to move into and talk about the essential starts that we picked for you guys last week and how bad we were or how good we were with them going forward. And then we're going to give you our essential starts for week 5 going forward. Guys that we like and or think are going to be good. Emphasis on think. But let's kick things off ASAP. Let's start with JJ. Kick us off with your IDP waiver wire ad and drops for this week.
Ooh, all right. Thanks for starting with me. I appreciate that. So my IDP that I love, he's a rookie. He's 23 years old. I think he's a great ad for Dynasty. I'm talking about Tyler Newman from the New York Football Giants. He had a great week this week. 56% of the snaps. We'd like to see more than that. That's okay. This is actually down from the last 2 weeks, but that's okay. 8 tackles and a forced fumble. He knocked the ball out of Jake Ferguson's hands, which was beautiful. 17 fantasy points. So I think that that's someone you should stash. He's only rostered in about 36% of leagues right now. He's, like I said, 22. That's awesome. IDP that I would drop. I hate this because I love this guy. I'm talking about Malcolm Rodriguez from the Detroit Lions. Rodrigo, if you watched the Hard Knocks a few years ago. Actually, he didn't have a bad game tonight on Monday night. He had 4 tackles and a sack, but prior to that, he had 5 points in week 1, 3 points week 2, 6 points in week 3, and then 13 points this week. I think he had a little bit more involvement. He's getting more involved in the defense, so maybe someone to watch. But he's only rostered in about 10% of sleeper leagues, so that's why I am ready to drop him.
Gotcha. Montavious, who is your pickup and drop for IDPs?
So also someone I was pretty high on at the beginning of the season, but at the same time he's right next to Roquan Smith. So Roquan's just a tackle monger, so he's just hogging up all the tackles. But I'm saying Trenton Simpson on the Ravens. So yeah, if you have him, just go ahead and drop him. And someone I say to pick up. I don't know if I say his name right, but Diane Henley on the Chargers.
Chargers linebacker.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
Chargers linebacker. He's been doing really good. Last game, 7 tackles versus Casey, which is a hard because it's a throwing offense. But the game before that, 12 tackles. The game before that, 8 tackles, 15 points, 27 points, then 11 points. He's giving you double-digit points every week, so that's my pickup.
Gotcha. For me, my IDPs, my pickup of the week is Dorian Williams, linebacker out of Buffalo, 25% rostered, averaging 20 points through 4 weeks, roughly 70% snap share, but it is increasing. For me, I don't have a droppable player that I'm looking at right now, but trade Nick Bolton. I'm going to stick with it from last week. Trade that man. He is. I'm so tired of him. You want him to be great. You know he can be great, but he's on that Eddie Lacy diet right now where he's fat and slow, and I'm tired of watching it. Expecting him to do great things, and he's just not. But I'm going to move us directly over to the QB spot. The drop for me this week is Jacoby Brissett. If you watched our last episode, we kind of talked about that Patriots offense, and Jacoby Brissett is droppable at this point. That offensive line just isn't it. I think he's a placeholder for Drake May. So yeah, I mean, unless you desperately need him, he's droppable for me. Tyler Huntley is someone to watch. Slow build to the offense, right? Because that offense is pretty complicated. But I mean, he had 8 rushes, 40 yards, and a TD, and we like that. We always talk about the rushing upside of quarterbacks and what it means to fantasy. So if you're in a deeper league, that's definitely somebody that I would look at going to pick up if you have the opportunity. JJ, quarterback.
All right, the quarterback that I am trying to add, I have Aiden O'Connell written down. I just think that if you're in a deeper league, like a 12-man, 14-man league, depending on what your league size is, if you're a super flex, 2 quarterback league, he's only rostered at 47%. So, yeah, I think Aiden O'Connell is probably who they're going to go with in Las Vegas. I think they should go with. I just want to say that the Mississippi mud flap in Gardner Minshew ain't flapping no more. He sucks, especially for fantasy. Someone I would probably drop, but I think that actually, you know what? I'm going to go with that. Gardner Minshew is my drop candidate. So drop that man and add Aiden, and hopefully they decide to go with Aiden, and Aiden throws the ball to a healthy Devontae Adams. Come back soon, King. We miss you.
Love it. Montavious, quarterback.
So I got pickup Joe Flacco. Obviously, this depends on how long AR is going to be out. But if he's going to miss any amount of time, I suggest getting Joe Flacco. Drop or trade if you can. I don't see it, but I got Will Levis.
Buns.
Buns, cheeks, ass, whatever, whatever word
That
you want to
dude's
use.
what are they shacked in a fool? That dude's a whole highlight reel by himself of
Yeah, he
just
got
mistake
two of
after
them
mistake.
already.
He injured
He's
himself diving for a
buns.
first down tonight.
Yeah, he's
Finished with
wild.
negative half a fantasy point.
Let's
But
kick it over to the running backs, Monty. Who you got for running backs?
for running back ads or for drops, I got Cam Akers. I feel like this was a good week for him to shine, and he got overshadowed by someone. I just heard of the dude today. I can't even pronounce his name, but I heard of that dude game day. I was like, who is this guy? But Cam Akers, drop him. And then as for ads, I got Kareem Hunt for my ad if he's available.
It's good. I also have Kareem Hunt as my ad. Um, I said pick up Kareem Hunt. I mean, he's the RB1 in KC. It's not even questionable. Carson Steele looked like straight up dookie. So for me, not droppable, but trade Travis Etienne. Again, if you watched our last episode, I talked about this. I couldn't get rid of him fast enough. The production that Tank Bigsby is having when he is able to touch the ball, yes, Travis Etienne is going to catch the ball out of the backfield, but that offense is not looking good. They're 0-4. Travis Etienne is not getting the workload like we thought he was. He's a tradable asset. Yes, you're in a trade low right now, but you can still get things for him. Believe me, I know it. I did it. You can do it too. JJ, what do you think about running backs?
Oh, well, I think that if you're looking to add a running back, you should probably look at Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon actually is the backup to Jonathan Taylor, who is out right now, suffered a high ankle sprain, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I would look to add him. He's only rostered in 45% of sleeper leagues, so try to add him. I think he's going to be taking the RB1 role until Jonathan gets back. Then the running back that I would drop, I added him just to see, but I wasn't really confident in him. Monty, you actually made a good point in saying like he's irrelevant. I do feel that way. I would drop Samaje Perine from the Kansas City Chiefs. Like you said, you know Kareem Hunt's your ad. I think that's a great ad if you can add him. Kareem Hunt looks like he's gonna be the RB1 in Kansas City, and I think Kareem Hunt he's rostered about 77% of leagues. So going forward, he had 14 carries this week in his first appearance for the Chiefs since he came back. And I think that that's probably who they're going to go to. And Carson Steele looked like ass. Another fumble. I think that he's got a long way to go. I'm sorry, but he seems like a great kid. He's got an alligator, whatever the fuck. Cool. Play with your alligator. Learn how to hold on to the ball, though. That's where I'm at.
Love it, Monty. Let's do wide receivers. What are we seeing?
So did you pick him up or he traded Trey Tucker?
I picked up Trey Tucker and then I traded him.
Okay, okay, yeah. So follow suit. Trey Tucker is an ad for me. As for drops, I don't have no drops, but if Tank Dell comes back healthy, I'm definitely and he doesn't show up in a game or two, I'm gonna be all like, maybe you should trade him. High end trade capital.
Tank Dell. I'm sorry. What? Can you say that again for the people in the back that couldn't hear you?
If you want to win, get Tank
Wasn't that
Dell.
your WR1? That
Yeah,
is crazy.
he's
All
coming
right,
off an
cool.
injury. We'll see.
It's all right. I'm just glad you're coming to your senses.
All right.
JJ, hit us with your receiver.
So my receiver ad is probably not It's a little bit of a homer take, but I'm talking about Calvin Austin for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You guys said it in the last episode. You don't believe in any of the other receivers except for George Pickens and Pratt Fryermuth, but for some reason, I just feel like he's a deep ball guy, and I want to say that he's going to get those opportunities. You just have to play the matchups, right? You talked about funnels or those
Right.
teams that we can basically rely on to have fantasy points for certain positions. I think he's going to eat in certain scenarios, but you just got to kind of play those matchups. So, I mean, they play Dallas, Las Vegas, and the Jets in the next 3 weeks, and then they play the Giants before their bye week in week 9. So, yeah, I look to add him. He's only rostered in 47%, and I do believe he's the wide receiver 2 for the Steelers. And I think he has probably a good connection with Fields. So if Fields can boot out, get away from all of this pressure that he's been getting, he might be able to get in the ball. The wide receiver that I want to drop, it's Elijah Moore, man. I just there was so much promise, right? He came from New York. Is that correct? New York Jets.
Did.
Yeah, he was ass there. Well, he's ass here too. Uh, he only had 10 fantasy points in week 2 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, which apparently everybody just takes advantage of. That's one of those teams that we were talking about. But he's rostered 68% of leagues. He's 24. If you want to hold on to him and waste a roster spot, that's fine. Do that. But I'm not going to do it. So drop him.
For me, my wide receiver this week, Dontavian Wicks. Pick that man up. Christian Watson's hurt right now. Romeo Dobbs is not performing how we want. Jaden Reed is the WR1 over there, but Dontavian Wicks, 13 targets last week, 2 tutties, and he dropped a couple of them. But I mean, the fact that he still scored 2 tutties on 70-some yards and 5 receptions, that is definitely a man to go pick up right now while Christian Watson is hurt. For me, I have 2 trade candidates. You can either trade or drop QJ. Nobody's going to give a shit either way because nobody loves that man. But he is still a tradable asset after having a couple of good games this year. Aside from that, secondary candidate for me, another tradable asset, Brandon Ayuk. Well, the fall off is real. That man did the old Ben Simmons of the NFL, caught his paycheck and said, I'm done now. So definitely somebody you can look to trade going forward. We're going to kick it over to tight end. For me, tight end, K. Dotton. Quietly getting the target share, 8 and 9 targets the last 2 weeks, playing over 90% of the snaps, 6 for 52 and 7 for 47. We like that 4 for 40, but this line is without a touchdown, right? So a tutty would make these numbers elite for a tight end, especially this year. Drops for me, Mark Andrews, BUM bum, bum, drop him, trade him
You
for
won't.
free
You
agency
won't.
money. I'm gonna trade him for free agency money. You watch, bum.
I have 100 fab for you. Wow. That's so sad to see that.
JJ, hit us with your tight end for the week.
Okay, Bubs, I actually wrote someone in here. I don't want to talk about him anymore, though. I want
You
to
tell us who you want
add
to talk about.
AJ Barner from the
I love that.
Seahawks. Yeah, we talked about it before the show. He's a rookie, 4th-round pick for the Seahawks out of Michigan. I know he's been playing under Noah Fant on that team, but he's 22 years old. This dude's 6'6", 251. He's a monster. Unfortunately, he hasn't seen that much of the field, but the last 2 weeks, I like what we're seeing. He had 3 targets last week, 3 receptions, 2 targets this week, 2 receptions. The dude's a monster. If you can go get him, if he's available in your leagues, which he should be because he's only rostered about 16% in Sleeper, I can only imagine it's probably somewhere around that or maybe less in other platforms where you're playing fantasy, but that's who I want to add. And I am willing to drop Daniel Bellinger from the New York Giants. For some reason, the Giants decided to go from Darren Waller super involved. Daniel Bellinger's only 24 years old. It's kind of sad. And he's a fucking Aztec, dude. And I'm telling you to drop him. Oh, God, seppuku. Anyway, listen, he had 19% snap share and 0 points. This man has not been very involved. He's only had 2 targets this whole season. He's caught every target he's had, but like I said, for some reason, Daniel Jones loves to target elite neighbors, which is totally fine, but that's why I would drop Daniel Bellinger.
It is very fun.
Yeah, good for you. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Montavious, over to you.
So for my pickup, I got Tucker Craft. If you could go get him, go
Yeah,
get
you do.
him. Yeah, you do. And then for my drop, I'm not gonna say drop, maybe trade. I'm not gonna trade him, but I'm gonna sit on him. But if you're not a believer, Kyle Pitts.
Oh,
Trade him.
oh, you can't
Hey,
trade him for
hey,
shit right
we
now,
brought up two bums in
Kyle.
the same time.
bro.
Two
Where
bums.
a year ago, if you would have told me that we'd be talking about dropping Kyle Pitts and Mark Andrews, I would have said you're a crazy person. But now it's a
He
smart thing to
said,
do,
"You
guys.
do drugs."
You might be high.
All right, we are going to wrap up our waiver wire ads and droppable players going into week 5. We are going to look back. We're going to throw it back to the past a little bit and talk about how bad we are and how good we are at fantasy football. We're going to talk back about our week 4 essential starts and how they finished. JJ, how'd you do this week? Give me out of 5.
Ugh, two out of five. Two out of
Okay.
five, Bubs. I don't know why. That just seems to be my number. These 1 or 2 is what I get right. Well, also, it sucks because we record this prior to Thursday's games, and unfortunately, I wasn't paying attention. Foyesade Alucon.
Aluquan.
I I have a hard time saying that, but I do love him. He's a fantastic IDP. Unfortunately, he is injured and he is going to IR for a little bit. So that was a wrong on that one. Sorry guys. I hope that you were able to bench him and probably replace him with somebody else, maybe Josh Hines Allen. But do you want to continue?
No, you can continue if you'd like to.
Okay. The quarterback of essential start for week 4 was Baker Mayfield. Hey, I hit on that one. Cha-ching. Okay. Quarterback number 3 on the week. Well, actually, I'm going to double check. Yeah, because we just finished the Monday night games. It might be a little bit different, but he did have 26.88 fantasy points. Dude is a monster, man. You know, you talked about it last episode. This guy was on fire at the beginning of the game. Ended up, let's see, actually, he is the quarterback 4 on the week. They did a great job. So happy with that. Running back essential start for week 4 was Devon Achan. Also, good lord. Oh my god. Finished with 5.9 fantasy points against the Tennessee Titans. I don't know what happened to him, man. He's fallen off since he had a great hot start. And then my wide receiver essential start for week 4 was Mike Evans. Yes. 14 targets. He played fantastic. He had 23.4 fantasy points. And he finished the week as the wide receiver 5. Ooh, ooh. So I hit on Baker and Mike Evans. And then I decided to go with fucking Kyle Pitts. Kyle Shits, as I
I think
call
you
him.
lose 2 points for that one.
Dude, I should. I don't know why I keep putting faith in this guy. They don't like him. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Fucking goose egg. Don't trust him. Get rid of him if you have him, like Monty said.
All right, for me, I think I went 2 out of 5, and I will tell you why. I went with Logan Wilson for my IDP. 10 tackles, 18 fantasy points. The consistency is kind of what we talked about. I said that I was going to go with Logan Wilson against Carolina because he's a good coverage linebacker, and they used their backs out of the backfield, which they did with Chuba Hubbard. So we saw that double-digit tackle week, so correct on Logan Wilson. Kyler Murray against Washington. Yikes, 5.98 fantasy points. Bro, he didn't run the ball. He had 1 rush. That is what you do, Kyler. Run the ball. I was so mad that I traded him away. That's how much I don't care about him. I was wrong there. Saquon Barkley. So here's one. I said Saquon Barkley because I thought it was going to be the obvious choice. And I said, you know what? Because I don't want to give you the obvious choice, the surefire choice. I went with a non-surefire choice after that, which was Tony Pollard against a banged up Miami team who went for 18.8. So I gave myself a half point there. So now I'm at 1.5 out of 3 because I was damn sure wrong about Saquon Barkley. Only had 10.6 and the fall off got smacked. My wide receiver for the week was Chris Godwin against Philly. Chris Godwin was quietly doing his thing all year. Finished with 12.9 on 6 catches. So he didn't have a touchdown, but 12.9 of a receiver. I'm not mad at it. So I gave myself a half point there. So that puts me at the 2 mark. I don't want to say it's wrong because 6 catches, 6.9, 12.9 is not bad. I wish he would have had a touchdown to go with it because he has in the first 3 games of the year, just didn't this week because Mike Evans was stealing all the glory. My tight end is Tyler Conklin against Denver, right? Said Rodgers looked good the week before. He was utilizing the tight end in his repertoire. He threw the ball to him 8 times. He had 8 targets. He only had 4 receptions for 17 yards, 5.7 points. I mean, coming off of 5 for 93 and a touchdown to drop down to 4 for 17, that's a no for me. That's why I think I went 2 for 5 last week. Montavious, what do you think?
I think I went 5 for 5.
Oh, here we go.
I think I did. So
I feel like I should throw the challenge flag already. I want to argue with this.
I got CJ Stroud. I had him having a bounce back game versus the Jacks, which he did. 21.50 fantasy point or 5 fantasy points. I said Jordan Mason was going to have a bounce back game versus the Pats, which he did. 24 carries, 123 yards, 24 fantasy points. I said CD was going to have a bounce back game versus the Giants, which he did. 7 for 8, 98 yards, 25.6 fantasy points. I said Travis Kelce hates his division, and he usually goes off versus us, and he did. Maybe it's because Rashee Rice also got hurt, so that probably plays a factor in. Either way, he went 7 for 9, 89 yards, 15.9 fantasy points. And then I said TJ Edwards was going to have a bounce back game when he came in with 9 tackles, 14 fantasy points.
Yeah, I think you went 5 for 5.
Bam.
Yeah, so if anybody's listening in, pay attention to Monty and what he's about to say for the next one
You have
because
been
all the
doing really
pressure's
well.
on his shoulders.
No, you got this, Monty. You can carry.
We are moving into
Carry the
our week 5 essential starts and why. So it'll be interesting to see what Mr. Montavious has going forward because I'll tell you right now, he's pretty good at guessing which week to week you should play guys, but he's not very good at guessing which guys you should keep. I'll tell you that because he gives away rookies like it's his job. All right.
Pressure.
We're going to start with Monty because I think there was a lot of build up there. So I want to hear off rip who you're going with for your quarterback.
For my quarterback? Ooh,
Yep.
So I'm riding a hot hand, and I'm saying JAYDEN Daniels versus Cleveland.
Okay.
Yep.
Any specific reason why, or just because Jayden Daniels is that
He's
man
hot.
right now?
He's that dude right now. I think from what he did last week, I think he has already built the confidence needed that you have to instill in a rookie, and I think he has that. So I think he goes into a good defensive in the Browns that he shows up and shows out. So
Okay. I like it. JJ, hit me with your quarterback.
Did you already do your quarterback?
I did not.
Can you do yours, please?
I absolutely can. I am going with Jordan Love. Jordan Love had a great week last week, but threw 3 interceptions. I think he's going to want to clean that up a little bit. LA is 28th against quarterbacks, and I think this game could be a bit of a shootout. I think it's going to be a coach's battle, which is going to be fun to watch. So I think Jordan Love is going to be my essential start for week 5 because after I traded away Kyler Murray, I'm going to be starting him.
You heard?
Sheesh. JJ,
All right.
kick us over with that the final QB essential start of week 5.
So I am going to go with. This might be crazy, but I'm going to go with Anthony Richardson because I think he's going to be healthy. So I'm being risky again because it's paid off so well. No, the reason why I'm going with Anthony Richardson is because the Jacksonville Jaguars have given up the 31st ranked most points to the quarterback position with 22.2 fantasy points allowed. So, love Anthony. I hope he's okay. His hips don't lie, hopefully. I want to see what his design run plays and throwing the ball a little bit more to Michael Pittman. It looked so good when he was doing that at the beginning of the game before he got hurt. So hopefully he can get back to that. Joe, teach him what to do.
Love it. Let's go ahead. I'm going to kick us off with... Actually, JJ, go ahead and hit us with your IDP for the week.
Okay, Bubba. My IDP of the week and I'm scared. I'm so scared because I own this player, and for some reason, all the IDPs I picked just decide to get fucking injured. I'm going with EJ Speed of the Indianapolis Colts. This man is a linebacker. If you have IDPs, look, this dude's nasty. He's playing against Jacksonville, who Blake put so beautifully. Trevor Lawrence is poop. So I think he's going to eat. He had 31 points this last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Meh, meh. Pretty sad about that. But he's averaging 23 and a half fantasy points through the first 4 weeks of the season. I absolutely love this dude. He's all over the place. Zaire, he's a great talent. He's fierce, but I got to tell you, EJ Speed is right there with him. I know he's a little bit older, but still, I love playing him. So please start him this week if you have him.
Love it. Montavious.
It's funny that he
Who's your
said
IDP for the
EJ.
week?
It's funny that he said EJ Speed because I went with his counterpart Zaire Franklin. so,
Nice.
so yeah, I think Jacksonville. So they play Jacksonville. I think they're a mess right now on offense, and I think Zaire is gonna take just like EJ Speed. I think that defense is gonna take full advantage of that. Them not having no identity, and I think their IDPs are gonna eat that next week. So I said Zaire Franklin.
My IDP for the week is Robert Spillane. You're playing against a bad Denver team, division rivals. This dude's averaging 11 tackles a game and 25 fantasy points per game.
I miss him.
I think he's going to have another just monster game, right? You know that Denver's going to have to rely on the run game, and he's going to be right there waiting. But, Montavious, who's your running back for the week?
I got your new shiny toy. I said Kyron Williams versus Green Bay. But Aaron Jones just went for. He just had a decent game versus them. What did he do? 22 carries, 93 yards, 4 receptions, 46 yards through the air, 19, almost 20 fantasy points. Kyron Williams, I think they run through him, so I think he's gonna have a solid game next week versus Green Bay.
Okay. JJ, hit us with your running back.
I'm going to go with the old broken toy you just gave away. I'm talking about Travis Etienne from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Duval. Oh, I miss Jax, man. I love that place. They're playing the Colts. We just talked about it. So the Colts are allowing 25.6 fantasy points per game to the running back position. Yikes. So hopefully Etienne looks a lot better than Najee Harris did. And he scores a lot of points for you. So if you got him, put him in your lineup. I hope he bounces back and actually produces like we've been waiting for him to do.
I hate that. Yep. Poop.
You're playing against him now.
-4 yards and 0 touches.
Just so everybody knows, okay, I didn't hate the trades that you made today. I thought you made some beautiful trades, as you always do. But the one thing that I will say that I was surprised that you did is you traded with the guy you're playing against, which I don't suggest doing. It
does not bother me.
It bothers me.
I like to go into every week thinking my team is better than your team, and it doesn't matter who I give you.
Okay.
That has not been the case the last 2 weeks.
I wasn't going to say anything.
I wasn't going to say that.
I said, okay. Okay.
Yeah. It's always fun to be projected to win by 50 and then lose by 60. Like, just
Dude,
it makes no sense.
It's wild. I don't know how this keeps happening.
My essential start, I went with Kyron Williams, but Montavious likes to do his own thing, and he's a little stealer. So I'm going to go with a Bijan Robinson bounce back. Tampa Bay is 25th against running backs in fantasy this year. It's a divisional rival game. Tampa Bay is balling out, so I'm going to go with a Bijan bounce back this week. For my wide receiver this week, I'm going with Rashid Shaheed. I think that Kansas City is going to key on Chris Olave, and it's going to free up some space for him to be that man. We've seen Derek Carr. He'll throw that ball to him 10, 11 times. He is not just this deep ball threat that we thought he was. He's kind of having that Jameson Williams emergence for that team. He's one of the 3 guys that we talked about on the last episode that is just a target monger for that team. So I think we're going to see some Rashid Shaheed action. That is my pick for wide receiver. JJ, nice. Who's your wide receiver pick?
Dude, I don't know why I keep doing this to myself. My wide receiver pick is Amari Cooper.
Oh my god! Don't listen to JJ. Whoever's listening,
he's playing against the Commanders, man. I'm just saying. I've also heard that there may be some trade works going on behind the scenes. Hopefully, Cooper gets the fuck up out of there. I do love Cleveland mostly because of Kid Cudi, but I will say this: this
Oh,
dude
Kid
is
Cudi,
kind of.
great reference.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I I do want to say that I love Amari Cooper. I also heard that he may be going back to the Cowboys, which I don't hate that. I don't think he ever should have left, but I love Amari Cooper. I hope that Deshaun Watson can stop getting sacked for 2 seconds and throw him the goddamn ball. I mean, he did have 27 points in week 3, so hopefully we just see a every other week kind of performance. But yeah, Amari Cooper, come on, buddy, please. Just give me a 5 for 5. That's all I want.
Montavious, who's your wide receiver?
I have DJ Moore.
Oh, hang on. Continue.
Yeah. So he through 4 weeks he's had decent games. He just hasn't had that breakout game yet. So I think he has that breakout game versus Carolina of all teams. So
All right. Go ahead and hit us with your tight end.
I'm running it back with Travis Kelsey versus New Orleans after they lose Rashee Rice. I think it's going to be Travis Kelsey season all over again. So somebody got to get the ball.
Love it. I'm going with Kate Otten. Atlanta, 24th against tight ends, getting a bigger target share. I mean, again, divisional rivalry game. We're talking about a guy who it's tough because you got Mike Evans over there. You have Chris Godwin over there. It's tough to say, want to spread the ball around, say that he's going to continue to get that target share. But it looks like Baker Mayfield in times of crisis is either throwing the ball up to that man, Mr. Mike Evans, or he's looking to Kate Otten to be his safety blanket. So that's why I went with Kate Otten again. JJ, wrap us up on this week 5 essential starts. Who is your week 5 essential tight end?
Ooh, I went with, since we're dropping Mark Andrews, I think that we should be probably starting Isaiah Likely. Now, I went and did a little bit of historical research and I looked at what the Ravens tried to do against the Bengals. This is their first divisional game, so I want to say that they're going to target the tight end position quite a bit, and I think it's going to be successful for them. So, if you look at Mark Andrews against the Cincinnati Bengals, he does pretty well, but for some reason, I just don't know if he's going to be anything other than a blocking tight end. It's kind of sad to me, but yeah, I'm going to go with Isaiah Likely this week.
I love it. We wanted to touch on just, a couple of things. You got those bye weeks that are coming up. Detroit, Miami, LAC, Tennessee, Philadelphia. Is that correct?
So we got Detroit Lions, Miami Dolphins, Los Angeles Chargers, Tennessee Titans, and the Philadelphia Eagles. That is correct.
Okay, perfect. Yep. So if you have any of those guys, make sure you guys are setting yourself up for success going forward. Be prepared for these crazy bye week hells coming up. A lot of the guys that we're talking about in these waiver wire pickups and droppable players, some deeper leagues, these are the times for those players to come into play. But aside from that, we are wrapping things up with this episode. JJ, Montavious, JJ, anything for the people at home?
Yeah, I did want to say that there are 2 weeks in particular that have 6 teams on bye. I believe it's week 11 and week 14. So if you got players on those weeks, go look ahead now because we're getting into week 5, right? You got plenty of time to make adjustments. But for me, for example, I would say my quarterback 1 and my quarterback 2 on my team both have a bye week in week 14. So I'm going to be playing Monty. So I got to figure that out. But
Easy win.
for Monty. But I'm just saying, guys, take a look, see what you got to do, make those moves, and keep looking ahead, okay?
Love that. Before I let Montavious say his piece, I actually have a trivia question for you guys.
Ooh.
There are 32 teams, obviously. How many teams all-time leading scorer is not a kicker?
All time leading scorer is not a kicker.
I don't feel like it's that many.
It's not. It's not very many.
I want to say it's less than 10.
It is less than 10.
Okay, thank you.
Is it less than 5?
It is less than 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 2.
I was going to say 3.
Incorrect.
Damn.
It is 3.
Ah!
It is 3. It is Dallas, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the San Francisco 49ers. Can you name those players? They are very straightforward.
Okay, one more time. Dallas, Tampa Bay, and
Dallas.
San Francisco.
Yep.
Jerry Rice,
Yep.
Emmitt Smith,
Yep.
and Tiki? Not Tiki Barber. For the Bucks? Oh,
Bucks.
no. Is it? It's not Mike Evans.
It is that man,
No
Mike
way.
Evans.
Yeah.
Yes,
Dude.
sir.
Hey, what the
Crazy.
fuck? I'm cooking over here. Let's go.
Let that man
Oh,
eat.
shit.
All right, Montavious, go ahead and wrap us up. What do you have to say to the
man.
folks at home?
Hope y'all enjoyed this episode. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and definitely hit us in the comments on how we can improve and do better.
Absolutely. Y'all know what it is. Smash all them buttons. We'll see you next time.
Bye.